Hello, everyone. This is Jackie Tomlin, and thank you for joining me for another episode of When Spirit Speaks podcast. Let me start out with some basic information with you guys. And today we're going to talk about, I've been asked several times about, does everyone have psychic abilities and why some don't appear that they do? So we're going to talk about that today. First off, my contact information. You can contact me by email or anything I offer is through my website at jackietomlin.com. The only social network that is not listed, I think, is TikTok, which is Jackie Tomlin and the number 0. Okay. And of course, join me on my YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/psychic Jackie. Okay. Phone number 804-731-2302. And tomorrow, which is April 27th for you guys, at 7 p.m. Eastern, we will be doing a fundraiser live on YouTube, and it is for the National Breast Cancer Foundation. I am a breast cancer survivor. And yeah, so I hope you're joining me then because we're advertising for $10 and $20 readings. And of course, you can make a straight up donation there without a reading at all. So hope you will join me for that. Okay, so let's get started here and let's talk about some of these psychic abilities. Okay, now you need to know that there's way too many for me to list here. I could literally spin off an entire series on nothing about abilities, different abilities, what they do or whatnot. So we're going to touch base today just on a few of them. Okay. So you got an idea of what I'm talking about, or maybe it's some experience that you may have had and not even embraced or realized. Okay. And we're going to start with the first one, which is clairvoyance, which is what I am considered. Okay. And it means that you can see or hear what is coming. Okay. And we have the mediumship, which is communication with the deceased or with the other side. Okay. You have telepathy, the ability to transmit or receive thoughts with someone else. Remote viewing. Okay. That is to see a target in the distance, like to see a specific object, a person, or something in a distance. Okay. Divination is insights by using tools. Now, your tools could be like pendulum, tarot cards, anything like that. We have energy healing, healing by one's mental or spiritual energy. I think we discussed that was last week. So if that's something you're interested in or want to know more about, definitely catch out that episode. And let's talk about your basic intuition. Okay. Your intuition is your gut feeling. Okay. Something, that sense of knowing. Okay. Yeah, well, and let's talk about a few of these. Okay. So let's talk about clairvoyant. I know this is what I am described as and what it means. It means when I see things, I see like visions, and sometimes I hear voices, and it's it's a little bit more than your intuition. Okay. But I think you all carry the gift of intuition. I mean, how many times, and let's stop and think about this. How many times have you been somewhere or you slowed down and just stopped and thought about, you knew something was going to happen? Okay. Maybe your gut feeling told you don't go. Maybe your gut feeling said it's going to be a great day. I mean, everybody has that gift of knowing. Now, and there's also, I did not mention this, the empath. The empath is the one that can pick up on one's emotions or the emotions of a location. Like they can walk into a place and they can feel very happy or they can feel very sad based upon what has transpired there. Or the same with people, they can pick up on their emotions of how they're feeling or how their day is going. Not necessarily reading their thoughts, but knowing how they feel. And sometimes those feelings are transferred to that person that is picking it up. And I understand it's a very difficult gift to deal with. Now, as a ghost hunter, we have what we call people being sensitive. Okay. Now, let's talk about the paranormal a little bit. The paranormal, the definition of paranormal simply means the unexplained. Okay. Yeah, pretty simple. falls under the area of the paranormal experience. Okay. Not everyone is sensitive, but ask yourself this, and I mean, this is something you may have and you may not have. Okay. And that is the sensation of not being alone. That's one of the most common reports I get, that you just feel that there's someone there. Some of you feel like you're being watched. You don't feel alone. You can hear noises or footsteps or knocking, anything like that. Or actually, you can hear someone speak to you that is not there. It doesn't mean you're crazy, because I've had it happen on numerous occasions and to numerous clients. Okay. Another common one is seeing things out the corner of your eye, like something darted by or something was there at that peripheral vision. And there is, of course, seeing an actual ghost, which would be someone that disappears in front of you, or perhaps they appear before you, but part of their body appears to be transparent. And one of the biggest things that I find, and I share this myself, is you can sense the barometer change when a spirit enters a room. It is literally, if you put a barometer in a room, you will see that barometer change, but you can sense it without that barometer. It's like you've got a built-in barometer. You know something's going on. You know that you're not alone. You know that there is something else there. Now, I'm just touching base briefly today on abilities and what people experience and what they don't experience and what is often reported to me. Now, let's go over some fun facts about this, okay? First of all, you'll be happy to know that a quarter of the population worldwide believes in abilities, okay? And I mean, I think it's a good thing and I think it's a bad thing. This is a shady industry. I'm going to be the first one to tell you that. There is a total list of psychic scams on my website of what to steer clear of and what to be careful of, okay? But yeah. Now, the fun facts with this is I'm not sure if any of you knew that the government has done numerous studies on remote viewing and telepathy. And that you can research yourself. Numerous studies. I've read up on a few of them, and it's quite interesting. And what is the research for? The research has gone into with the reliability of psychic abilities, not to discredit the abilities. It's the reliability. The two that they seem to research the most is remote viewing and telepathy. And why are these two used? For military and intelligence matters. That's why they're researching the reliability of them. From what I can tell on their research, what they concluded was psychic abilities work like the other five senses, and that you can definitely sense change, and that the consistencies are recorded. And it seems to be that the consistencies are too numerous to rule out the remote viewing or the telepathy. Now, let's go back to the remote viewing. Remote viewing and a psychic reading are totally different. I do some remote viewing, yes, like lost objects, things like that. But it is being able to see, like if you request to see where your keys are, okay? It's being able to accurately describe where those keys are sitting at that point in time, the surroundings of it. That's what remote viewing is. Telepathy is, can you read my thoughts? Can I read your thoughts? I'm not really strong in telepathy, I'll be honest with you. With my daughter, I am. There's some kind of telepathic connection there. There's no doubt about that. Okay. But these are the two that they researched a lot. Okay. Now, let me tell you the fun facts on the paranormal. And this is just from our case studies of We've been investigating since 2008. Okay. Half of my cases, my clients are college educated and they're white collar workers. And one of the first things they're going to tell me when they contact me is, I'm not crazy. This actually happened, or this has been reoccurring. And, or I actually set up my own camera and saw that I'm not nuts. Okay. So we get into the whole fun facts here of, do you discredit someone or do you listen to what they're saying? And for us, I mean, we have this thing of everyone needs to be heard when it comes to the paranormal. Okay. So then you're looking at believers versus non-believers. Believers know what they experienced, know what they saw. They don't really need any proof of it. Okay. Where your non-believers are looking for scientific, can it be explained? And can you make that incident reoccur? And where I stand with it, yes, I am a believer. I mean, look what I do for my work. But at the same time, I also want evidence. I want something to show, like the homeowners, that what I saw, what I saw, and what I heard could be validated. And that's what a paranormal investigation is about. It's about validation. It's not coming in to clear your house. It's not coming in to run a ghost out or anything else. It's about validation of what's going on, and then being able to pinpoint whether it's about being attached to a person, being attached to the property, whether it's human, whether it's not human, whether it's posing a threat, whether it's not. It's more of that aspect than anything else. Okay. You also get into the vague versus specific. Okay. You know, let's talk about that in psychic abilities. Okay. What is vague and what is specific? Vague, meaning, you're going to predict a hurricane during hurricane season. It's vague. It's going to happen. Is that necessarily a prediction? Not necessarily. But if they can tell you when, where, why, and when it's going to, particularly when, what town, and the destruction, that's going to be pretty specific. And I think a lot of people go by, you need to look at the details. Even my believers, you need to look at the details of their reading. Does that apply to everyone? Can it be applied to just you, or can it be applied to everyone? Now, in every one of my general readings that I do on YouTube, I will tell everyone to take with you what resonates and leave behind what does not, because it's a general reading. Okay, so if I'm doing a reading for Aries, it applies to Aries as a whole, not specifically you. They are not personal readings. Personal readings is when you contact me directly for a reading. And I might want to mention, I don't use any tarot cards on those readings. That's a complete clairvoyant reading unless you ask for something different. Validation versus repetition. Okay. What is valid? When you can verify that the predictions have occurred. And repetition, how many valid occurrences? And that means in your psychic predictions, what you're listening to, does it resonate with you? Did it happen? Did it occur? Timing is probably one of the hardest things to predict in psychic abilities. Okay. And then we go into, I love this one, the psychic powers versus psychic gifts. I've never referred to them as powers. It kind of makes me chuckle when someone does, because the first thing that I'm reminded of, I'm thinking about Superman and kryptonite. Okay, I don't have any special powers. That's me personally. I can't speak for others, but that's me personally. Okay, so what I do have going on, I do consider to be a gift. So as you can see, there's many aspects of the psychic abilities. Of just experiences in general. So now let's talk about this. Why some people have no psychic abilities, or a paranormal experience, or a sense of energy at all. Okay, so these are just my opinions. And I think it's because they're not open to it. Okay. And some are what we consider non-believers. In other words, they feel that everything can be explained. And if they can't find an explanation for it, they will make an explanation for it. I'm not hating on non-believers, because I'm just as much about the scientific approach as anyone else is. I think it's fascinating. It's one reason why I got involved in the paranormal. A lot of the non-believers can be a little over analytical and analyzing absolutely everything, versus a believer that will just wrap it up to that's what it is and life moves on. Now, as the founder of a paranormal team, it was important to us to carry a group of people that are on both sides, and an even amount of both sides. So if I got 3 believers, then I'm going to have 3 non-believers. Okay. Because I mean, it makes for a great investigation, but really it makes for the evidence review to be extraordinary, of listening to the different viewpoints and things like that. And one of the things we do as investigators is knowing our equipment and knowing what the equipment is capable of. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to be able to produce a false positive and know how we produce that. It's part of the science part of it. You would be surprised to learn how many people, when we go on an actual investigation, will deny having any experiences in the home. And I'm not picking on anyone, but it's particularly the men. And I believe that we're looking at 2 different scenarios here. Okay. One is generally the women and children tend to be in the home more than the man does. Okay. And 2, there is that whole thing about a man admitting that he might be on board with this. Generally, when I go into an investigation, they are very upfront with me and tell me that they're allowing this to get them, as in the wife and children, some answers, but he hasn't had an experience. Every single time that has happened, somewhere in the investigation and somewhere throughout the night, they will approach us and talk about their experiences. Well, there was that one instance I come out the shower and that door over there did open. Or there's one incident, I had to really question whether I saw a shadow cross the kitchen door. They will always come to me with this, always. So does it mean that they don't want to talk about it? It doesn't mean that they necessarily don't want to talk about it. I think it's a thing of, it's that whole, they don't want to admit they're crazy, because they're not, but that's the way it will make you feel. Okay. I have met people, very few, like maybe a couple in 100, if I had to put a number to it, that I could say are probably as psychic or as sensitive as a brick. But I think when I look at those instances and I look at those circumstances, it's more or less what you're looking at is people that have emotionally shut down, period. It's not just again about the paranormal. It's not about energy. And it's not about psychic abilities. It's ones that have just emotionally shut down. Now, let's go back to the original question here of, do people carry psychic abilities? Okay. Well, I want to talk about the gifts. Okay. I mean, this is When Spirit Speaks podcast. So let's talk about when Spirit speaks. Okay. Let's talk about the gifts. Okay. There is the gift of wisdom. And there's that gift of knowledge, which is that knowing things that maybe you shouldn't know. Maybe it's knowing the intuition, where I'm talking about that gut feeling. It's the gift of knowing. Okay. There's the gift of faith, of believing in spirit. There's the gift of healing, hands on, hands off, energy, otherwise. There is the gift of healing. There is also the gift of miraculous powers. I do not carry that gift. Okay. And I have many that believe I do, and I do not. There's the gift of prophecy. There is the gift of tongues, and yet another gift of interpreting tongues. These gifts are handed out to each one just as Spirit determines. Now, that's nothing I made up, because that came straight from 1 Corinthians chapter 12, listed in the Bible. And it kind of closes with that sentence I just read to you, that the gifts are given to each one just as he determines. So what does that mean? So does everyone truly have the ability? Is everyone given a gift? No, I don't think they are. I don't think everyone is given a gift, because later on, you will find that they will tell you over and over to pray for those gifts. Pray for them and ask for them. And that's part of the psychic development course that I do offer. I can give you insights on ways to help you develop your gifts. I can give you things that can assist you and help you get through things. If you're working with gifts, how to make things a little bit easier. But bottom line is, you have to pray for it. And, like anything else, you're not going to be given more than you can handle. And some of them can be rather frightening. I'm not going to lie. I mean, when you take someone that has had an ability and all of a sudden they're getting the visions and they see things play out, and a couple of days later, that vision played out, it can be a little disturbing. And I totally get that. So back to what we were talking about. Okay. Why do some people not have abilities? I truly think they're not open to it. I think they're emotionally shut off. And I would also be curious to see where they stand spiritually in regards to their faith. Because if you do have your faith and your faith is intact, it absolutely asks you to pray for those gifts. Okay, guys, that's what I have for y'all today. Y'all, please join me tomorrow night. $10, $20 readings. They don't happen that often. And I'm going to start at 7 p.m. Eastern. I'm planning to run on up till at least 8:30 p.m. We will go longer if need be. But it's for a great cause. It is for the National Breast Cancer Foundation. And like I said, I'm a survivor. Unfortunately, my mother was not. So join me there on YouTube, /Psychic Jackie. I hope to see you all there. You guys have a fantastic week, and I will see you next week. Bye.